Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Marriage, that blessed arrangement, that dream within a dream. And love, true love, will follow you forever. So treasure your love.
Skip to the end.
Have you the ring? And do you, Princess Buttercup?
Cheat codes. Just say cheat codes.
Cheat codes. It's May 19th, 2016. Welcome to episode 97 of the Cheat Codes podcast, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you with us. Super exciting. Next hour is us drinking a few beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game, tech, and pop culture news. My name is Joe Erskine, and I am your host. We're coming to you from the depths of the fire swamp where the rats are ravenous and the quicksand as well. It's quicksand.
Kicksand.
Today I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe Prince Humperdinck Arroyo.
That's me.
Cheat Codes contributor, Mr. Nick Wesley Golish.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. Today on the show, we're going to search out the man with 6 fingers on his left hand to get to the main topics. The indie team at Raw Fury Games wrote a heartwarming piece on how they are measuring success. The people behind Ark have decided that if your mod is good enough, they'll buy it from you. And we'll try to put the argument to rest, finally, that eSports players are real athletes. For today's lightning round, we'll take the identity of the Dread Pirate Roberts to sort out the following bits. Nintendo is rumored to be considering a move into movies. And lastly, speaking of movies, the Tetris movie has an $80 million budget, and they're considering making it into a trilogy. Jesus Christ. Gentlemen, it's good to see you again. Joe, thanks for taking over last week.
Yeah, you bet.
It was a good episode. Alex sounded like a pretty awesome guest.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
A lot of good insight.
No, definitely. I
had a lot of fun.
It's always cool when people aren't sure what they're getting into and then rise to the challenge.
And then they get in on the conversation and they have great things to say, usually making us look fucking stupid in the process.
That's great though, because they make themselves look better, and that's kind of it's absolutely a platform to do that. So
our guests are better at this show than we are.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how that goes.
And we've had 97 episodes to do it, so maybe we should get our shit together before 100, I guess. But whatever, it's fine.
Well, look, until we hit 10,000 hours, apparently we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
How many times have we made that reference?
Dude, I don't know. And it's always me. It's always me.
Right on.
It's the one book I've ever read, so I keep bringing it up. I'm that guy.
Well, I guess at least it was Malcolm Gladwell. You could do worse, I suppose. All right. Very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing this episode down with. While it's always fun to pour a few drinks with rivals and test for iocane poison, we prefer to drink with friends. As inconceivable as that might seem, it's true. I don't think that word means what you think it means. So for today's show, we're enjoying a few Ruination IPAs from the folks at Stone. I'm going to go ahead and just say that it's the best beer on the planet.
Oh,
it's my favorite beer of all time.
Holy shit!
Oh. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
All right,
it's yummy.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, should we get to it? Should we just get on with the goddamn show? All right.
We shall. Don't mind the movers outside.
There's neighbors they're taking their sweet time.
People are getting the fuck out of here because we do a really loud podcast once a week, and it probably wakes up their baby.
You can't handle the heat. Stay out of the fire, I guess.
What?
No? Okay. I saw it on a No Fear shirt once. All right.
Number one.
Thank you. The indie team at Raw Fury Games posted a blog entry this week called The Measure of Success. While their game Kingdom paid for itself in its first day of release, their latest, Kathy Rain, did not. So in an effort to make sense, being a small team in a position like this can be precarious, and they're taking a stand. A small one, but an important and generous one that allows and shows an attitude about support and satisfaction that a lot of people and fans should consider when they think about what makes a game and or a group of devs a success.
So what was the stand?
The stand is that they're gonna take their one man developer and just support him, even though he's not even working on the game anymore for the next year, which is a pretty fucking awesome thing to do. And even from an indie standpoint or whatever, I mean, obviously, I think it would be an arguably much harder thing to do from a AAA standpoint, especially when you have a staff of people and you're constantly seeing people get let go in droves after a game ships or if a studio goes under or gets bought. But the stand that they're making is that look. Maybe we didn't have such a financial success. Critically, things have been going just fine. I think this game got some sort of like a 92% sitting on Steam last time, released at the time of the article.
It's a good rating, but not a lot of sales.
Yeah, and that probably goes along with marketing, and
It was a niche game or something, wasn't it?
Exactly, that's exactly like quote unquote what they called it.
Yeah.
But what they've decided to do, and it's like because they're proud of their work and what they've done, and they want to support the people that helped make it, they're gonna keep this guy employed or at least supported financially for the next 12 months. And I think that's fucking rad as hell. Like,
That's cool.
I mean, it's nice to be in a position to be able to do that. I'm sure a lot of studios aren't, you know what I mean? But the fact that they can kind of turn around and be like, hey, you know what? You still got a job with us if you want it. And apparently this guy's already like back to work working on something new. I'm not sure if it's for Raw Fury or for Clifftop. Is it Clifftop Games? I forget the name of the other studio that he was kind of like a part of. But I don't know, man. This is like it was a good news, feel good story, and I felt like we spent a lot of time talking about studios closing and sometimes like the negative connotations of the industry and the business and gaming in general. And this put a little smile on my face. I was happy for them.
Yeah.
It's kind of the light in a dark place. Like, we're still not giving you the happy-go-lucky, it's all sunshine and farts article.
Sure.
It's, there's
Specifically the farts, yeah. But.
Yeah, this is something that's not going particularly well, but they found a good way to approach it.
Yeah.
And kind of spin it a bit. And the thing I like most about it is it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
It's like they looked at the game and said, look, maybe we weren't as successful because of the marketing strategy we originally had, or maybe the lack of money we had to do the marketing portion.
Insert X factor here. Yeah.
Can we come up with a way to pay an employee and turn it sort of into a marketing stunt? Like, not in a bad way, but just like it became news, right? Because they were taking this stand and turned it into a marketing. So it might increase sales. It might turn around and actually impact them for the better. And they're doing it and then also supporting an employee in the process.
I might have a little bit of hesitation saying that it was like a preconceived marketing ploy. I think it's more along the lines of like the article that like Hugh Monahan wrote for Stellar Jockeys when they were talking about Brigador. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, this is why $20 actually makes a difference when you're buying our game, and what and equating it to all these other things that you could have spent your $20 on, but why you should spend it on us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the exact same thing, but it's just this. It's an impassioned, an emotional post about the fact that like this is how we measure success. It's like the fact that we get to keep this guy, the fact that we can still be in a position to pay him for the next year, regardless, and keep this little train of Raw Fury games rolling. And I think that's a cool thing. You know what I mean? So I think it's closer to that, not necessarily like a
but don't
marketing
confuse
ploy.
Don't confuse the word ploy with like a negative term.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
I think
if
that
it turned
is
into that
in
after
fact,
the fact,
sure.
that's cool.
I think that it was something where they said we can do this, and if something comes from it, it might be better.
Sure. Yeah.
And,
okay.
And
sure.
then something did, and they were like, "Cool." I'd be surprised if
Either
they
way,
said
smart
that they
move.
weren't
Yeah.
expecting anything at
No,
all
fair enough.
to come from it, right? So it's a marketing move. There's nothing bad about that. It's like, can we pay someone and also make a good decision that might move us forward financially? I mean, why
I'll give
not?
you that.
Right?
I'll give you that. I think it's to me. I guess the way my point is like it was more of an accident, not necessarily like a premeditated.
And maybe it was,
you know
but
what I mean?
I just doubt that.
Okay.
So if it's an accident, good on you. If it's premeditated, very smart on you. Either way, it's like congratulations. Like,
Again, like win-win once again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. What's the? I don't know. What do you think they had to gain if it was an accident? Just at some point they had to sit there and say, we need to make this
a little more attention for the game, and therefore a little bit more sales and more longevity.
So it wasn't an accident.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, if they have something to gain from it getting some ground and getting a bit like this blog post, getting some media attention through the games industry, at the very least, it's giving them attention. And at some point, you have to call in the old adage, right? Like, no press is bad press, right? So at least this one has like a positive message, and that's a cool thing. Instead of us being like, oh, we burned our studio down in frustration.
Oh, that's extreme.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
now I know what your go-to is if things don't work out. I got these matches in my drawer.
Keep that jar of kerosene out of my hands, yeah.
At least someone wrote an article about it.
Sure.
Burning that.
Right. But no press is bad press at that point, right? So, but I'm not going to burn down my studio if something goes bad just for the sake of, like, getting attention either. You know what I mean?
And you're also equally not going to throw money at the problem if you don't have money. So this is also kind of a lucky situation where maybe they were just really smart with their finances. So I'm not going to, lucky's probably not the right word. But at some point they had to say, we have this abundance of cash to do something with. It's not like they took out a lien on their house to pay for this guy's.
As far as we know,
I hope not.
Right,
I mean, then I might not be as happy about their choice, because I don't think you'd want to put yourself in complete and utter financial distress,
right?
For this type of situation.
But I'll tell you this right now, though. Like, when I hear stories like this, like the Brigador story when he wrote his like impassioned thing, and this kind of stuff with Raw Fury Games, like, it does make me want to play their game more. So I don't know if that's some sort of like psychological, like, everybody's like, these indie like studios are having a little bit more success with this kind of like just planting seeds of like positivity or like general smart reason and logic into our brains.
So you're making another argument that it wasn't an accident.
I'm not sure. I think maybe I'm coming back over to for Arroyo's side, actually, where it's like, I don't know, like maybe people understand that it causes a certain amount of like a sympathetic reaction that like actually bolsters sales or something and notoriety. All right, that's fine.
If things go as planned, then of course that's what would happen. Sure. And if not, then so be it. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's some indie devs summit, a secret one. It's like the Grove.
Illuminati meeting.
It's the Grove of the indie devs, and they get
like
together.
An Eyes Wide Shut type deal, like only less sex and more masks, that kind of thing. Like, yeah.
And they sit around and they plan how they can social engineer the public to buy their games without spending a lot of money on marketing.
We just gotta be real on our blog posts, yo. Just keep it real.
Yeah, you tug at their heartstrings, right? You, I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe that's a thing.
I don't know, but I think we've seen this kind of thing in the past, and I think this just kind of like reiterates and proves the point of like transparency and being honest with the people that care about the work that you're doing. And the more you do that, I don't know, like I just, more often than not, the returns become positive after a while. So I don't know. Fuck Kathy Rain. It's available on Steam right now. You guys can go get it. I mean, maybe you should. It's a niche game, Nick, as you were correctly pointed out. But it's like pixelized, stylized, detective mystery kind of thing. Female protagonist. I don't know. Get after it. Why the fuck not? I kind of want to play it now just to see what's up.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I think it's worth checking out. And then also, positively.
Sadly, just rolls off the tongue.
I know,
easier,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only reason why I say sadly it's worth talking about is because it makes me want to go give money to this game.
Support people that deserve it, yeah.
But the reason why I say sadly is because it's more for like the cause than the fact that I want to just play this game at the moment, because I don't know enough about it.
Sure.
And so maybe I'll check it out and maybe it'll be great, and then it is a win-win for everybody, for them and for me. But my motivation right now is based on this article and what they're doing, and I don't know. Is that a good reason to buy a game?
So that's actually like the best argument out of this whole thing, I think, because what happens ultimately is because you're almost like, it's like a pity play. Right? Like you end up playing the game not because it's good, or maybe it is, but maybe it's not. You know what I mean? But ultimately, you just want to see that dev get paid. You know what I mean? And people deserve to get paid. Don't get me wrong, but
it's important. And like we're not saying it's a pity play because of the quality of the game by any means.
No, not at all.
It's just one of those things where the point is that if I spent money on it and it sucked, I wouldn't have cared, because the reason I was doing it,
the reason you paid for it in the first place was not about enjoying the game.
Yeah.
It was just like, I get to play this as a bonus to me spending that money. That's cool. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Right. So yeah, we'll just go with that. Go get the game.
Okay. Let's move on.
All right, number 2.
So while we implore you to go spend a few dollars on Raw Fury Games and support their stance on helping a developer out, there's more good news, everybody. It's a feel-good episode today. The team behind Ark Survival Evolved has decided to make the best use it can out of its modding community. If you're building Ark mods and if the devs like them, they're in the market to buy them off you, which is fucking rad as hell. On Wednesday of this past week, Ark included a new map that effectively doubled the game's size. But Studio Wildcard didn't make it. A fan and modder did. The mod was a popular one, and Studio Wildcard decided to pay for it. And that developer ended up getting hired.
Hire them? Wow.
This actually happened with another guy as well. One of their mods got picked up, and he got a staff position as well. And I don't know. When it comes to community management, when it comes to staffing, when it comes to, I don't know, embracing the community that's like taking the thing that you built and, run wild with it in a way that is productive and awesome for the rest of the community. Like, I can't think of a better way to deal with stuff like this. Like, this is fucking cool as hell. Like we've heard for years, like people that made mods for games ended up getting jobs in the industry to some capacity. Maybe not with the studio that they were modding for, or whatever.
Or like level designers and stuff got hired a lot out of making maps in their like map tools.
You see it all the time. I think you hear it a lot from like Blizzard and stuff like that, or some of those kind of companies. But when you have a community that's passionate about what you're doing, and especially a game kind of as new as this, I mean, it's been out for a couple years in early access.
It's not out yet, even.
Right, but it's already like you can play it on at least Xbox One. Is it on PlayStation 4? I'm not sure, but it's on Xbox One now, and it's on Steam. But they're gearing up for full release here shortly.
Coming up. I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened, obviously, but I mean, it's kind of cool that it's like making news that it's happening. I know that a lot of these games that are in early access are picking up mods from the community, and they showcase them in their like updates also. So I'm like, hey, this is really cool, something that somebody did for our game. They'll post it on their media, and also so like these modders are getting recognition, and then some of the people that are doing really good get hired, and their mods get put into the game.
Well, especially in the light of like the whole like Steam backlash of like trying to like have paid mods and stuff like that, and like and how kind of like they walked that back because it was kind of a disaster. It's like because people were whatever like hijacking assets and stuff like that. But like when you guys have like honest people coming across and building legitimate things that are good and an improvement, if not making the game better, then why the fuck not? I mean, these guys are full on going to make an initiative out turning around and being like, well, if your shit's good, we'll buy it from you. You know what I mean? Like this is the way I feel like the paid mods thing should have gone. Like if you have a game that you're encouraging people to mod, let the devs pay for it. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I think this is kind of like the way maybe this should have gone. You know what I mean? And Ark, Studio Wildcard's doing it. So fucking A.
I think this is great because it highlights one of the fundamental hiring principles that you should have pretty much in any in any job field whatsoever, but especially in games. From what I can see now, I'd say the number one employee you want to hire is the person that's utterly passionate about the fact that they're making games, and who's more passionate about designing and coding and working on something than a fucking modder, because there are people who are doing it in their fucking free time
for no pay.
Yeah,
like they're just because they love
no
it. Yeah.
Money. So if you want, like, imagine that guy working for you and getting paid to do it. Reminds me a lot of like what us going through school and paying a like wanting to be in games so bad that we're willing to pay an institution to make them, because our institution was, DigiPen was, you make a game every year. So
and we're paying you to do it. The school to do it. Yeah.
So this reminds me a lot of that. Like we want it so bad, we're willing to pay you to do it. And then hopefully someday someone will pay us to do it. And a modder is, just sitting around on their free time making no money and probably working their fucking ass off on this stuff.
Many man hours.
Holy crap.
It's not like I can spend half an hour and make a cool mod. I mean, maybe you could, but not something to this kind of scale.
The word mod is so tough because it lumps this giant umbrella into this. You can't really explain like the depth of one modder from another.
Sure.
Because there are some games that offer mod tools that do 90% of the work for you, and you're like playing with numbers or switching out assets. And then there's
map.
Yeah, and then there's mod tools where it's like, here, we'll allow you to write code or hook into, the actual API. And then that's people who are sitting around all day like programming to make a mod,
digging through the game like source in the first place just to figure out how to do shit in the first place.
How to work with the engine. Yeah.
But not just that. Like in this specific instance, it wasn't necessary coding. It was level design. It was a huge level that's based off of Lord of the Rings, pretty much. I guess is what they said. And
Tolkien-esque, I believe was the word. Yeah.
I mean, there have been other maps that came out for the game, but they've been a lot more barren. Like not as much detail has been put into it, and you can see that this one is clearly like a lot of thought's been put into it, and it looks great. It's
a labor of love.
Yeah.
Well, and from the screenshots that I saw of it, it actually kind of messes with elevation a little bit too. It's not just like some rolling hills or the occasional blocking mountain that you can't get up or barely around. But this one actually doing some elevation stuff.
They had some underground stuff.
There you go.
Mine's a Moria shit.
That's cool.
Yeah, this kind of shit. Like hearing that makes me kind of like, all right, kind of want to play it. Can I surf off a goblin grave while on a shield and shoot multiple arrows?
No, you're not.
No,
not
okay. I'm not Legolas. Yes, all right, fair enough. But it's cool to see this kind of thing, and especially lately, we've been hearing like a bunch of like shit about gamer attitudes and fans and how cranky and fucking opinionated we all are, which is true. You know what I mean, to a certain extent. But this is a way of like being a productive,
proactive
and fan and getting rewarded appropriately for it. Like, and I get that it's 1 out of a 100,000, you know what I mean, or more, whatever. But it's still out there. You know what I mean? You can do it. Everybody, go make mods for Ark, and if you're good, then you get paid for it. Maybe you'll get a job out of it. I don't know.
If there's something you really hate about that game, instead of hitting every YouTube video and commenting your ass off about it and bitching and whining, why don't you go mod the damn game?
Right.
Do it yourself.
If you hate it so much, then go fucking fix it. You know what I mean?
Or better yet, if you hate it so much, why are you playing the game?
Right.
I don't know, one of the two.
I'm just saying, like, take that negative energy and put it into something positive. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that's
once again, negative things turn positive. It's great.
Energy.
It's a theme of this episode.
It's just funny, like when I think of people modding to this level, I don't see how they actually have time to play the game. They actually just they're spending all their free time making stuff for the game. I imagine
to a certain extent for diehard modders, like I am not one of those people, and I'm not even sure I know anybody that's done like hardcore mods like that for any game, let alone Ark. But I imagine to them, like, that is the fun in it. It's not like, the game is fun to play, but like the real enjoyment for those type of people is the modding itself.
The world building, and that's cool.
It's the creation process, not necessarily the play process. Mm-hmm. So
to be able to create something that somebody else is going to play is pretty cool.
That's why we all make games.
That's why we make games. Right. That's why I don't mod.
I'm already making something.
Well, this is one of those true moments where a window into the world of development is really what we do when we develop games is a lot like what you do when you play games, where all we're doing is selling you a bunch of problems you need to solve for $60. That's essentially what we're doing, and you are having fun solving these problems. Well, equally so, we have fun solving the problems that arise when we're creating something. And it just turns out that I enjoy doing that more than I enjoy the problem solving of playing. So that's why I like making games.
Being on the other side of it at this point and knowing like what it's like to play games, and then also knowing like having some experience making games, like the problem solving that is involved with playing a game is much more almost like a predetermined dialogue that you have with the people that made the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's from a design aspect, from an art aspect, whatever you want to say, from any discipline. The idea of making games is very much kind of this open-ended, like, there are ways to solve these problems, but I have to figure them out in a way that's not necessarily predetermined.
It's like, you like laser tag? Well, here's the Wild Wild West.
Right.
It's like that.
Pistols at fucking dawn, or
you're going to die if you get shot. Like,
it's like laser tag, but with real guns. But less fatal, but
well, not really if your job depends on it.
That's kind of true. But you may get fired, but not dead. But getting fired sucks too. I want to see more companies do this. I mean, look, Ark has made a bunch of money, and they're in a much stronger position to be able to turn around and buy mods from people. But I feel like this is something Bethesda should be doing with like Fallout 4 or any of the Elder Scrolls titles that have these mod capabilities, like Civilization, for like Firaxis doing it. Is it Firaxis or is it Firaxis?
Firaxis.
It's fine.
Firaxis.
At
least that's how I say it.
Phonetically, I think you're right. But
I say it fiery axis. That's how I say
everything gonna be ivory.
The wrong emphasis
on the wrong syllable. I think the companies that have the resources to support communities like this should be doing more things like this, and it's cool to see Studio Wildcard making it like a full-on initiative to turn around and be like, we can't guarantee you a job, but we will absolutely buy your work. So you might as well be like a contractor that hasn't even had to sign a contract,
which is great for the company too, Jesus.
and for tax purposes for the employee, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like,
does Studio Wildcard, are they publishing their own game? I don't remember.
I'm not sure who's publishing Ark, to be honest.
I would assume that like a studio like Bethesda or something.
Well, you guys got a chance to talk to those dudes, right?
Yeah, they seem more like a giant club, like just group of people like making
really
a passion project.
Yeah,
or something. Exactly. They didn't seem like they had publishers or anything. I can't remember if they do or not, but I feel like having a publisher would completely
change this.
Like not allow people to like pay for their mods, like not allow these companies to buy these people's mods or something, or allow the modders to sell the mods to the company.
What's the interest of the publisher, you think, to avoid that?
Liability for sure.
But under what circumstance?
Somebody makes content that's questionable
that is questionable, gets put into the game that has like hidden butt cracks in it and stuff, and it gets
but the vetting process is done by the developer, and if there's a contract drafted that says you receive this pay and you have to sign this that says that none of that happened.
They could do that, but I'm positive those things don't exist yet.
I think maybe the answer to your question is this. It's like, we'll buy your mod and you get this amount of money, but don't be surprised if we change a couple things. You know what I mean? Even if there's questionable material,
like you have to pressure the individual into understanding that if they put that hidden shit in the game, that they're going to be held accountable legally, financially, whatever. Like then
that's an interesting question. Yeah,
if you put the ball in their court, then it's not as bad. But I understand what you're saying. Like it could like you're talking about a giant publisher, and it could compromise their entire suite of games that they publish because one modder decided to sneak in something that they shouldn't have.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And that
put the board of directors as like characters in the game, and they all something stupid happens. You know what I mean, or something like that. Yeah.
Well, typically these mods are like open source also in some ways, and people just take the ideas out of them and put them in the game without the modder's consent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone could spend like
speaking
weeks.
of Wild Wild West, like the modding community is kind of that already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think this is kind of like a structured approach, and I think there's still some open-ended questions, and I think the ones you're asking are completely valid. But I don't know. This is like a substantial kind of growth, like a paradigm shift in the way that you treat your community, and you know what I mean. Like, and again, we've seen this kind of stuff before. But to me, this just rang really loudly that, like, not only they're willing to buy the thing from you, but then they can give you a job. And now that second part is not necessarily guaranteed moving forward. But they've said that. They're like, if we buy your mod, don't expect a job, but we will buy your mod for a substantial amount. And it's something I think Jeremy Stiglitz was saying, was like, it's a couple months worth of pay, for what we're shelling out for some of these mods, depending on the amount of work that went into it and everything else. But
it makes sense.
It's nothing to shake a stick at.
It definitely makes sense for the studio. I mean, like we described, we met these guys and they're just passionate about this game, and they're like, "Oh, here's some more passionate people. Let's give them money to like make stuff for our game." Like,
share the love, right? Like, we're passionate, you're passionate, everybody's doing work. Why the fuck not spread the money around, right? I mean, and it's despite the legal stuff that was happening with Studio Wildcard a couple months ago. I mean, that's all done. It's been settled, whatever, and for not a small amount of money, but they have resources to work with clearly to make these kind of, like, facilitate these kinds of maneuvers with their community, which is super cool. So good on you, Studio Wildcard, and good on you modders for fucking being passionate about the things you like, man, and doing something positive with it. Because the more you do stuff like that, then the less we have to hear about assholes doing dumb shit like it.
And the less work we have to put into a game, which is great.
Yep.
Well, we still got to build a thing for you to mod on, but yeah, true. Number 3. Yes. A hotly contested debate has been raging since the inception of eSports. We've talked about it a lot on the show, and the question is, are eSports players real athletes? In the more traditional sense of the word. A recent German scientific study has apparently answered this question. What they found might interest some of you, but the shorter answer is yes, they are athletes. But let's take a closer look. We're going to get into it. It's not just a bunch of Dorito-eating, Mountain Dew swilling, mama's basement living jerks who happen to be good at a MOBA. You know what I mean? It's more. It's definitely more than that. German professor Igor Frobos. There's an umlaut over one of the O's, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so I apologize. But he started a study 5 years ago at the German Sports University in Cologne. It was meant to catalog and determine the demands placed on an esports professional, the training needed, and the demands of tournament play. What he found was that a typical esports athlete spends between 16 and 18 hours a day practicing, where players are making an average of 400 movements with a keyboard and mouse per minute. And that's about 400 times, or 4 times. Sorry. Yeah, I only make one movement per minute at work. It's about 4 times the average person, so for context. And
if we've had enough to drink,
right,
so then it's about 1 per minute.
Yeah. And these actions are asymmetrical, so they're using obviously both hands and are being used as well. They're utilizing both sides of their brain.
I hate that fucking I hate that statistic. The
both hands statistic?
No,
the both sides of the brain?
The actions, what is it?
Like actions per minute.
Actions per minute. It's meaningless. Like I can click the mouse like 100
more than
times.
you. It doesn't mean I'm gonna.
Just because I'm like clicking back and forth in like a set area doesn't necessarily measure my like ability. Like sure, these guys are faster at it than I am, and they're a lot better.
So would you prefer something like MAPM, like meaningful actions per minute?
Thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
Because they're probably like a third of those are like at least
like 4 extra clicks on the thing that you didn't need to click 4 extra times.
Yeah. I mean that's what people play those games and they click in the same spot over and over again because they think their player will get there faster.
It's not that. It
makes the computer go faster if I click this.
I see it from a professional level. I see it as a momentum stability.
Yeah.
You almost have to keep operating on that level.
You're just
even if you're not doing anything meaningful.
So that it keeps your brain moving that way, but it's not useful. So that when you need to react quickly in a useful way, you can because you're constantly doing something.
It's kind of like a boxer floating around. Or something. Like they dance around.
Yeah, leg work and all that stuff, keeping their feet moving.
I still don't think it's necessarily useful to measure like somebody's.
You're absolutely
the
right.
APM.
Yeah.
You're more
like you can have
MAPM.
You can have a fast dancing boxer who gets knocked the fuck out in the first round. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't mean that he's better.
Yeah, congratulations, you get to move your feet really well. Didn't land any punches though.
No, like I don't know.
No, I think that's actually not a horrible point, and but I agree with you in the sense that like maybe it's not necessarily like a meaningful action in its own right, but perhaps like by like what you're talking about, keeping that momentum going, it does serve a purpose.
That does make sense. Like as we get further on in the article, it's like maybe it's helping them keep their heart rate up so they can keep the adrenaline going. And
right.
Stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of which,
yeah, nice segue. So heart rates were measured for some of these players upwards of 160 to 180 beats per minute, or I'm sorry, MBPM.
Meaningful
beats per minute. It's keeping them alive, but
still kind of a useless statistic.
Which is similar to that of a like a marathon runner or a sprinter. And obviously now that we've understand like the things that got into it, like health and fitness have become a focus because even though they're not sitting there like lifting weights or doing like traditionally physically strenuous activity, it is physically strenuous. There's a lot of focus mentally, and there's a lot of like minute and small movements, and a lot of mental emotion and focus happening enough to the point where it is physically draining. Like I'm sure anybody that has to play through a Dota tournament or a League of Legends tournament comes out sweaty as fuck, just like a boxer or a track athlete would at the Olympics. You know what I mean? So.
I've definitely experienced adrenaline rushes while playing video games.
Sure, I don't think anybody who's played a video game has to some degree to a certain level, right? But when you're playing it on a professional level, which means you're doing it every day for extended periods of time, 6
to 8 hours. That's longer than like less time than Joe's awake. Like
that sounds about right. Speaking of which, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, it's bedtime. Yeah. So, based on those statistics, guys, is it safe to say that athletes are a real thing?
We're back there.
Call back.
I like it.
To the Hugh Monahan episode.
Yep, that was the Hugh Monahan episode.
But so is it? Can we turn around and be like, these guys are like legitimate athletes? Like at some point there might be a fucking League of Legends draft for kids coming out of college or high school for that matter. Like the Kobe Bryant of League of Legends is going to get drafted at 17 and end up on some team and fuck that, I'm foregoing college because I know I can play eSports until I'm 23 and retire. It's good. You know what I mean?
I guess I had a conversation with one of my friends a little while ago about like whether or not like these professionals are athletes or not, because it kind of like dangles on what athlete actually means, I guess. Like, does it mean like they're athletically active in a way? And
but they are keeping themselves fit. They are on a diet, like the ones that are taking themselves seriously. Anyway,
I'm just explaining the conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. And at that time, I was like, I wasn't necessarily convinced. Like, sure, these guys are talented. I think that esports were sports at the time. It's just like, would I call them an athlete or something? Because that sounds a little like they should be athletic. And this article suggests that they actually are athletic. That or
the study at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to help these guys to have lower like
resting heart rates.
So that they
got to exercise in between games.
I thought you were about to say resting bitch face. But yeah.
My question though is like, I guess with that amount of adrenaline, like and their heart rate going up that high, are they getting the necessary
nutrients?
Not necessarily. Not nutrients. I don't want to like, is it actually...
Because runners are actually like running and being physical while maintaining that heart rate.
Is it exercise to play video games? Like, is it...
No.
Until a study shows that you lose weight playing video games.
My gut reaction says no, but that's why they like do fitness stuff, related stuff like outside
people,
of that.
That's traditional athletes, like a football player or a basketball player, they exercise to get better performance and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
They improve their heart muscles so that they can beat less. But
I imagine that like an athlete. Sorry, I'm just going to. That's how I'm going to refer to him now. That's how it is.
It's fine.
An athlete would still like runs or lifts weights or does some sort of like fitness regimen, not necessarily on the scale of like a traditional like athlete, but does that so that they can perform better.
Well, I think they would too. I think that would become necessary. But I'm curious, like a football player can become better at playing football by playing football. Can and they can improve their physical endurance by playing football.
So are you asking if like can a CS:GO player get better at CS:GO by playing paintball?
No, I'm saying can I improve my video game endurance by playing more video games? Like, is my heart rate going to go down because I'm playing video games at like a high?
I think so. Yeah.
So like my. Well, I think
when you talk about endurance specifically, sure. Yeah. Like I know people that can't look at a screen for more than a couple hours. Like I know in my 20s or whatever, like I could sit in front of a TV or computer screen for 12 hours at a click and not, yes, I would blink an eye. I guess that analogy doesn't work, but but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Picture you with a freaking like vice.
Yeah, straight up like a Clockwork Orange, like my eyes pried open, like staring at a screen. No,
you have to think about like what definitively what cardiovascular exercise is.
That is.
Isn't it the act of doing something
using oxygen
that
more
moves
efficiently,
your heart so faster, so that it's pumping blood through your body more often?
But it's also like using your heart more to slow your heart down. Like your heart can maintain a slower beat at a higher exertion. You know what I mean?
So that, but isn't adrenaline in and of itself, raising your heart rate, does that count as a cardiovascular activity?
I don't think it's cardiovascular. It might be like low impact or something. I don't like
right because
it's just under swimming in a pool or something. I don't know.
I agree with you. That's why I just asked it in the form of a question because I don't know, too much Jeopardy or something. But
what is?
But yeah, I mean it begs the question though of that, like. What they always tell you is, you get your heart rate high and you'll start to learn how to maintain it. So maybe they kind of focus on that similar thing.
I think the act becomes about focus and concentration, but I think that you could say the same for traditional athletes. So the distinction that should be made here is that esports athletes are not traditional athletes. It's a new wave. It's a new evolution of the way we consider what an athlete is. You know what I mean?
Coming.
We used to think of athletes as guys who got naked and then wrestled in the sand in some Greek auditorium, and now everybody wears pads and gets concussions.
and Will Smith makes a movie.
Right. Concussion. But at the same time, these future athletes, I mean, like, wait, what happens when VR becomes a thing and all you're doing is sitting in like the reclined chair wearing a mask and you have a couple wands in your hand and somehow you're like amazing at Quidditch or VR, you know what I mean?
The NFL becomes VR,
right? Like now, there's no more concussions, right? Like
it's perfect.
Concussion. Sorry, it's awesome. Anyway, I think it's safe to say that athletes are athletes.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. I think it's safe to say that it's not. It doesn't really matter that much.
Well, you know why it matters to me? Because like the rumor, there was another article that was going around that I actually considered putting on, the docket for this episode, and that's that Colin Cowherd was about to. He's getting interested in investing in esports.
Yeah,
I feel like this is the article he needs to read to kind of like justify his fucking, or at least read the fucking the publication of the study itself to be like, oh, so these guys maybe are athletes. They're not just fucking Dorito eating, Mountain Dew swilling, living in their mom's basement fucking nerds. Like these guys have a straight up like drive just like any other athlete does. You know what I mean? It's just defined in a different way.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit also. Like
what, Colin Cowherd?
No, about the Dorito eating Mountain Dews.
We need to drop that already.
It's a stereotype. It's stereotypical fucking thing.
How many people do we know that play video games that actually just eat?
I don't know anyone who eats Doritos or drinks Mountain Dew. Yeah, I can't think of anyone that I know personally.
I occasionally eat a Dorito, but not when I'm playing video games.
I occasionally eat a Dorito.
Dorito.
If somebody had like some Doritos out,
tasty.
If they had Doritos out at a party, I mean, I'd eat them.
Yeah. Even the flavor blasted ones?
The taco flavored blasted ones. Of course, yeah.
The Doritos Locos Tacos flavored ones.
The Doritos Locos Tacos flavored Doritos. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would try that. I mean, there's no harm really eating those once in a while, but I mean, it's just a weird like stereotype that keeps going around that I don't feel like applies anymore.
Doesn't apply.
Like, maybe I'm a little bit out of touch with.
I think this is us in our bubble right now.
Yeah, we're just the cool kids.
No. I think because we aren't those people. Like we're a bit old. Like, does it still exist? Maybe to a certain degree. But I think it's one of those things that caught on and it became a stereotype. It's not necessarily a truth. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have friends that I play with that they're like, oh, I got to go get an energy drink. It's like, that's gross. But I mean,
yeah, energy drinks are gross.
In my opinion, I don't like them. Like I'm not a big fan of them.
If you like energy drinks, that's cool. I don't. I think they're gross.
But it's just that the whole like Doritos Mountain Dew thing needs to stop. Like the whole stereotype.
But the mom's basement thing is okay.
Yeah. Well, in this economy, it's okay. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. Lightning round, guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's how it works. We're going to take two quick topics and give each member of the panel a minute to chime in uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award the panelists a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular. So, for our first topic, for usually being so tight-lipped and isolated, Nintendo continues to drop tasty breadcrumbs leading to whatever everyone hopes is a return to form. You know, the glory days, 80s, or even Wii, if that's your thing. With rumors a swirl, NX details, a new Zelda at E3, mobile games, and amiibos, a new tasty little crust has dropped. Nintendo is planning on turning their best IPs into movie franchises, so the rumor goes. We talked not too long ago about how some folks feel Nintendo should steer clear of Hollywood, but Nintendo does what Nintendo wants. So, yay or nay? And since it's happening anyway, which games do we choose to see made into movies? Is this a good move? Is it not? They're your minutes to spend, gentlemen. So, Mr. Golish.
Hey,
I'd like to give you the first minute. And tell me about how you feel on Nintendo getting back into the movie game.
How long can I sigh for?
For a whole minute.
Yeah. Like, for one, I guess if you understand my view on Nintendo, you should know that I guess I don't care what they do anymore, and they don't care what I care about them doing either. And it's you feel like they would know that Hollywood and video games are not working out right now. They have been in the past, really. And if any of the future movies that are coming out, they are any indication of where it's headed, it's not in a good way either. So,
which we'll get to soon.
So in a moment.
Yeah. Come on, Nintendo. What are you? Just sell your IP and don't sell your IP. I guess
figure out ways of making other money.
Yeah, come on. Like
insert sigh here.
Insert sigh here.
I will award you 4 stuffed Care Bears doing the Care Bear stare because you care, but they don't care either.
As long as
because it's Nintendo.
Yeah,
that was a stretch.
Mr. Arroyo.
Shit, I don't really care either. Don't make an announcement about how you're gonna get back into movies. Just make a fucking movie. Like if you want to see us get excited about a Nintendo movie, make a good Nintendo movie. Don't dangle the carrot of a possibility of a movie by Nintendo. I don't give a shit. Although I will say, if I did give a shit, which I don't, Super Mario Brothers again and John Leguizamo again. I
as Luigi.
Yes,
we can't do the guy who played Mario. I forget his name at the moment, but he's long since passed. Sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
It's okay, but John Leguizamo needs to come back and do it anyway, and I'd be okay with that. And also, I don't give a shit again. So that's a theme.
Yeah. You'll probably only be able to watch it on the NX anyways. On the controller with the screen.
But like a dark John Leguizamo, like from Spawn.
I want to give you a copy of the song "I Don't Care" by whoever. Everybody, it's stuck in your heads now. You can hear it.
Yep. I love it.
Right. On some platform that you can't play. How about that? All right.
There you go. On the PS Vita.
Yeah. On the fucking Ouya, dude. All right. Anyway.
Ouya.
So here's the thing. Video games and movies are going to happen whether we like it or not. It'd be cool if Nintendo got ahead of it and started actually making like good movies. I'm cautiously optimistic for Assassin's Creed. Not really. I'm cautiously optimistic for Warcraft because Duncan Jones is otherwise going to have a real bad fucking year. With his pop passing away, and if the movie doesn't do well, I'm just saying. I think video game movies are getting incrementally better. Like it's not a you bowl thing anymore, but there's many miles to go in that regard. If it comes to IPs that I'd like to see, I think how can you not do a good Zelda rendition? I think Splatoon could be really fun if they made that into a movie. Mario, of course, even Metroid, dude. Like, there's still this clamor for like more like engaging female lead roles in the movie. Like, Metroid's a prime fucking that's prime real estate for that kind of shit. So you could do something cool with that.
Metroid's the only thing
if they're done well, all of these things could be done, and be exciting and fun. And Nintendo's not stupid for doing it, but I agree with you, Joe, in the sense that like, don't talk about it. Just go, put your money where your mouth is and go make it happen. So,
I have awarded this before, but based on your minute of saying that, game movies are getting incrementally better, I will award you every remaining copy of Pixels that is yet to be sold. Which is a lot of copies of Pixels.
There is a warehouse somewhere. Yeah. They need to do the whole like
E.T. burial.
Almagardo, New Mexico, like E.T. burial for that shit.
Yeah. All the digital copies too.
Bury him.
If you're just throwing hard drives into the All right. And speaking of video game movies, there's an intrepid group of filmmakers who have raised a hefty $80 million to make a Tetris movie. But wait, they think it's got legs to become a trilogy. So whether we want it or not, tell me either a possible Tetris story that lasts for 3 movies, or why everyone should wake up and move on, or not. You tell me. They have trouble. Can I take the first minute on this? Because I'm like, they have trouble making movies that like out of games that have a fucking plot. Tetris doesn't even have a fucking plot, and now they're like, we could make this 3 movies. Like, what? Okay, so like I get flashbacks of like Battleship because they were like, let's make that movie, but you know what? Aliens. You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, so what does Tetris become? Like a space thing where everybody's a Borg cube, and then the Borg cubes come together to form other pieces that look like Tetris pieces, and then they form 4 lines and then disappear? Like, how does it work? I'm a little concerned. About this, guys, because Tetris goes down in history as one of the most recognizable, profitable, based on longevity and interesting games and fun. Like, this is my dad's favorite game. I remember sitting in old school dorms back in the day in college, using like old school Game Boys with the link cable underneath the stall door to play with the guy on the other side while we're dropping deuces. I'm just saying.
You say Tetris when you...
Right. Like, Tetris. Like, oh, that one's shaped like an L. Anyway.
You stole my award for that minute.
L-shaped turd?
Yeah. I'm so pissed. But you could still have it if you wanted.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. I don't know. I'm really scared about this one. The whole Tetris thing. Anyway, all right. Mr. Arroyo, go ahead.
Oh. I think that... Okay, I think it's a stupid idea, but I'm trying to kind of envision maybe how they might do something like that. And they'll go off in some like weird-ass tangent where... it's a bunch of people who are forced to rebuild some city, and they do it by like looking through some window and playing some sort of like digital representation of like a rebuilding structure thing, and they're slaves, and one of them breaks out from it and like escapes and realizes that their life isn't what they thought it was, and they're gonna go like completely off the rails with it.
So Snowpiercer in Tetris mode.
Yeah, pretty much. Something pretty stupid, you know. But then, you know, it's Tetris, so everyone's gonna go see it anyway, you know. And I'd like to use the last like 5 seconds to go dun 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 dun.
Okay. Hey. I will award you 1 rocket ship.
Yes.
Because you got through the Tetris campaign and you launched the rocket. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey,
Mr. Golish, be so kind as to give us our final minute for the day.
All right. I was just told my idea, and I hope it's something like kind of abstract in a way, where it's kind of like Russia trying to figure out how they can fit more like anti-aircraft platforms into Ukraine or something in a Tetris shape or something. But I also, maybe it'll be like the Cube or something, Cube.
Cube was great.
Where like you got people stuck inside the blocks, and if they don't
trying to find their way out, and
if they don't,
each block is a fucking death trap.
A line is coming.
If they don't find the prime numbers, they can't get out of the room.
Cube was fucking. I want to go watch that movie right now.
It's on Amazon Instant Video, I think. Sweet. Right now. Yeah, you can watch that.
Sweet.
But
so Tetris.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Like it's. I mean, I enjoyed Battleship also. Like, that was fun. I actually had a lot of fun with that movie. It was not a great movie, but it was cool to see, like, Battleship drift and everything. And the old guys on the ship and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. Veterans.
I'm going to agree with you. That was kind of a nice little thing, like, bring some of the Pearl Harbor guys back to Battleship and do that whole...
That was awesome.
That was a cool moment. However, I'm going to award you 2 VH copies each of The Cube and the other movie that we talked about, Battleship, I guess. Probably wasn't published on fucking...
That was definitely not VHS.
But guess what? you get some. They're probably worth money now, so congratulations.
You sunk my Battleship.
Can anybody remember the theme for the second level of Tetris?
I know.
Did it change?
No, you chose the music.
Oh, well, what was the number 2? Track 2
yeah.
or something, or track 1, because I think they started at 0. But
there were so many.
Yeah, I know, but the second one's like the second well known or something. I don't know.
No,
I don't.
Whatever.
The answer to your question is I don't know. I don't remember it. So sorry, we're not going to sing that one this time. Do you know it? And do you want to sing it?
Was that why?
I know. I was just curious if anybody knew it because I wanted to Joe sing it again.
Oh, no.
And the guy who made Tetris, he was Russian. That's why I made that reference.
Alexei something. I forget his last name.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
The listener just got it.
God, Putin.
Feels good when everybody's connected, right? It's so good. All right. I think we've done it. We're doing a short one today, but nice, quick, compact,
concise,
tight like a fucking tiger. It's good. Episode 97 is all but over. Fellas, it's always a pleasure drawking with you.
I like it.
Yeah, drinking and talking. I just made it up. It's fine. I love core panel shows almost as much as I love having our brave guests run our little gauntlet. But thanks, fellas. It's good to be back on the show. It's good to be talking with you guys. See you at work tomorrow morning. It's great. Thank you for being here, dear listener. And know that we're always curious to hear what you think. We love that you guys listen in and you guys reach out to us with questions and comments, stuff like that. We love it. It's fun interacting with you. The vast majority of you have good things to say, and we like interacting. So, in the meantime, hit us up, cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, and the Twitter page. You can get in on the conversation if you're eager to be. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes as well. Give us a review and a rating. We humbly suggest 5 stars because it's the most stars you can get on iTunes. If you would be so kind, help us continue to spread the word about the show. And we have, episode 100 quickly approaching, and the plans are coming together. We're stoked to share it with you, and I don't know, just to have you take part. If you've been here since the beginning, then you know what this means to us, and it's a hell of a thing.
Are you gonna cry?
I might.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a little misty. No, I'm not gonna cry. It's fine. But we're stoked to share it with you. So stay tuned. A couple more weeks. This has been 97. If you do a little math, 100's not that far away. So, right? It's pretty good. All right, guys. We're going to see you next week. As you wish. Bye.